Hello, and today we'll continue with Nerus. 2 days later, Nerus and I met by the entrance at noon to set off to our one-day vacation. I was surprised to see he had arranged it to happen so soon. Not that I was complaining. Is it really okay for you to take a day off on such short notice? It will be alright. It means I will have extra work tomorrow, but I do not mind. I see. Well then, one last thing before we go. I can pass as a tourist just fine in that place, but we will need to do something about your eyes, Nerus. You got too many, and they just look too scary for mortals to handle. True, they will notice I am a safe center right away. But fret not. I have a form for these occasions. Let's see it. Nerus' body started undergoing a small transformation. The position of his ears changed slightly. One row of eyes disappeared and his fur gained a few darker spots and became thicker all around as well. It didn't look that different from his usual appearance, but it did give him a much friendlier aura. What do you think? You kind of look like you're wearing a fake mustache. Oh, but you still look good as ever, yes. I just found that detail funny. Is it be good enough for you to pass as a mortal too? Very well. Are we ready to depart then? Yes, I already packed everything we'll need. Let's go. I took a glove off and he took my hand. We teleported into the middle of a forest. One could hear the birds chirping in the distance and the rustle of the leaves on the ocean wind. The salty smell of the sea was faint, but it definitely was there as well. Nerus almost fell when we appeared, having landed on an uneven spot, but he managed to regain his balance. You okay? Rough landing, I sighed, yes. Alright, this way, the beast isn't far away. And do watch your step. It has been so long since I last came to one of these. Really? When was the last time you took a vacation? A vacation? I have never taken one, I believe. Let's make this fun then. We can enjoy the beach and then visit the town if you want. Sounds good. Let us look for a good spot to sit down. We walked down the beach for a few minutes, holding hands the entire time. Nerus was trying to look immutable, as always, but I would catch him smiling at me who I had to see every once in a while. Soon we found a nice spot without many other people around, so we decided to settle there. There wasn't a huge influx of tourists at this time of year, so it was mostly locals or fishermen at the beach. I took off my backpack, opened it, and grabbed a red geargum from inside. Nerus helped me spread it, and we sat on it. Do you want a drink, Nerus? I offered him one of the canned drinks we had brought with us. I was already treating myself to one of them. I will drink later. More importantly, this is a nice place. It feels very, very peaceful. Yes, I kind of wish we could have lived somewhere like this with my family, but they always prefer big, populated cities instead, because of work, but still. I like that there being people around, but when you put so many mortals in a single, small place, it becomes rather chaotic. And I imagine the mansion is a bit too desolate and dark for your taste. It goes beyond being peaceful, right, into creepy territory, yes. Why did you move there, Nerus, if you don't mind me asking? It is because of a silly reason. Well, let's hear it. I moved there because of those white flowers. Since they are one in some of my oldest memories, I think of them as precious. But they are delicate. Even a bit of light is enough to kill them. So you moved somewhere you could raise them. Well, that's pretty romantic. Do you think so? Yes. I guess I can abandon all hope of convincing you to move to somewhere brighter than. We will see. I'm kind of jealous I don't have any hobby with an interesting backstory like that. Surely you had something you liked to do back home. I guess I had taste for drawing with crayons when I was a baby. And playing fighting games, but they aren't available everywhere. Now that sounds interesting. Does that mean you know how to fight? What? No. Not that kind of fighting. Geez, you really like throwing hands, huh? Only recreationally, believe it or not. Do you like boxing, for instance? I prefer wrestling. Like the shows and such? Shows. I suppose you wouldn't know about those. The Great Sea Center looked to the side, put up a sour face as I giggled. It was sort of adorable how he'd get confused about mortal customs despite his age. But this wasn't the sort of thing he would know by living locked up in that house. I tried my best to explain to him the kind of wrestling shows some mortal communities seem to enjoy. Even after I finished, he was still raising an eyebrow and somewhat bewildered expression on his face. Those sound entertaining, but they are a spectacle. When I am fighting, I prefer something more authentic, like oil or new wrestling. I recall trying to keep my drink from exploding out of my mouth. I raised my head to take one big gulp and put the can down for the time being. I see. Nerus fighting like that must be quite a spectacle too. Sex. Do you get dirty thoughts? Huh? I can see it in your eyes, unacceptable. There's nothing sexual about wrestling or any form of fighting for that matter, sex. Fighting is a means to nourish one's manliness as well as to hone one's own skills and obtain power. Although sooner than I expected, I picked my can up and sipped it from time to time as I heard Nerus rant about his love for fighting, giving him a nod or a blank every once in a while. He went on and on about manliness and humbleness and integrity. He seemed passionate about it. I even started feeling like I wanted to punch someone myself. For him, fighting wasn't about starting off physical strength or subduing an opponent, but about testing his ideals on masculinity. I won't lie if I said I saw the correlation, but it sounded interesting nevertheless. Besides, it was the first time I had seen him rant about a topic like this. I miss fighting. Surely there are people out there who would like to fight you, Nerus. No one is willing to outside of other great centers, but they don't share my passion for it. I'm afraid I have become very rusty because of that too. I would challenge you, but with the way our first dance went, I think it's obvious I couldn't put up much of a fight. Such a shame. I'm certain you would be a worthy opponent if not for your height. You do have a fighting spirit if you ask me. What makes you say that? You are somewhat timid, I believe, but your eyes tell me something different. There's an unrelenting quality to them. Oh? Then I have a fighting spirit because of the way my eyes look? They are the windows of the soul, after all, or so Nominal says. Some mortals say things like that too. He probably heard it from them once and liked the sound of it. But I guess he isn't wrong. What makes you say that? I suppose I was fighting in my own way before moving in with you. Indeed. Sex. I have an inquiry. I must admit the concept of wrestling shows you describe baffles me. What is enjoyable about a fake fight? Oh, it isn't about the fighting itself, I guess. Most mortals have it rough, so they enjoy all kinds of entertainment. Resting souls or stays, but as long as they brighten someone's day or make them feel something, they're good enough. I suppose so. In a way, they're like books then. Yeah, let's say that. Do you ever think about how mortals in State Center often end up using the same things as a distraction? You mean things such as books? Correct. I think everyone has gaps in their hearts that a good story can fill. Little adventures we want to go on, a feeling we crave. That we even have such needs makes me question if we really are as unaffected by matter as Domino says. I'm not sure if it's only about the corruption. What about detective stories, for example? The main draws in those is deducing the criminal before the end. Or intellectual challenges a thing of the soul? Even if the puzzle itself is just a fabrication. Nerus crossed his arms. Maybe there is a wish to protect one's community or get revenge involved. But it's not your own tragedy. You don't need to have been the victim of a crime to enjoy mysteries. Seeing the great safe center's face grow serious made an idea pop up in my mind. What about love stories? What does love have to do with matter? He shrunk his eyes away and fixed his suit. Well, since matter makes for finite lives, mortals and beasts. Hold on a second. So, in your opinion, the end goal for love is creating an offspring? I closed my eyes and gave him a huge smile. I was expecting you to be that kind of person, but I'm not opposed. I'll make sure to keep it in mind. Nerus closed his eyes as the inside of his ears gained a bright pink coloration. I wasn't able to contain my giggling. It was a bit mean of me considering his circumstances, but he just looked so adorable when flustered, especially considering how seriously he usually acted. Oh, I'm sorry, Nerus. You just made it so easy. I was not expecting it is all, but I am glad you are comfortable enough around me to be so playful, and that you are having a good time. To be honest, I was worried I would bore you. Not at all. It's fun spending time together. Besides, let down, feeling a bit deflated all of a sudden, and I saw the hand I was holding the can was trembling. I held it and pushed it onto my lap. I focused on the great safe center again. So Nerus, what do you say we go see the town now? Of course. I would like to see it before sunset. Okay, let's pack up. I wanted to show Nerus around the city, but it almost felt as if I was doing the opposite. The great state center looked like a mortal, but its height still attracted a lot of eyes toward us. I don't think anyone realized the truth, but it still made me a bit uncomfortable. This is what they call Port City, yes? People here make a living by catching fish and then selling it to nearby towns. Which reminds me, we should check out the local restaurants. The dishes they serve are excellent. By the time we got out of the restaurant, the sun was already setting, and most of the shops in town were preparing to close. We walked around some more, visited a few landmarks and souvenir stands, but we're running out of places to go to. Where to next? Do you want to go to the stargazing spot? I doubt we will find anything open unless you want to go to the town. You did mention the stars look wonderful from here. Of course then, lead the way. We made our way out of the city and walked in direction to the forest over the cliffs by the sea. As we were climbing slope, I heard Nerus grunt and sometimes yelp behind me. Is it okay? Is everything okay back there? Yes. I just keep bumping my head against branches. Ouch. Oh, hang on. We're almost there. Waves of moonlight welcome us to a vast clearing adorned by the blue flowers. To me, it seemed like a moment ripped straight out of a fairy tale. The thin blue light gave the place a fantastical feeling. Is this the place? Yes, pretty, huh? Indeed. This is the sort of sight you only get to see in the wild, although I suppose it must be more common in worlds that aren't that technologically developed, such as this one. But even then, it is remarkable. How did you find this? A bit of luck on a sleepless night. Hey, let's lie down over there. Nerus nodded and followed me. Rays of moonlight welcomed us to a vast clearing adorned by blue flowers. To me, it seemed like a moment whipped straight out of a fairy tale. The thin blue light gave the place a fantastical feeling. Is this a place? Yes. Pretty, huh? Indeed, this is the sort of sight you only get to see in the wild, although I suppose it must be more common in worlds that aren't that technologically developed, such as this one. But even then, it's remarkable. How did you find this? A bit of luck on a sleepless night. Hey, let's lie down over there. Nerus nodded and followed me. I let my backpack slide off my shoulders and threw myself to the ground. The sensation of the grass on my feathers and scales brought back a lot of good memories from the times I had decided to retreat into this little corner. Other nights I spent here just listening to the sounds of the forest or trying to find shapes among the stars came back to me in an instant. Good memories. I heard grass being stepped on while Nerus looked for a good place to lie down. He finally lied down the opposite direction from me so our heads would be next to each other. Now this is a nice view. I sort of wish the stars could be seen from the mansion. Now that you mention it, why is it that they are not visible when it's always dark there? It is the same reason there is no sunlight. The atmosphere in that world doesn't allow any light to break in. Oh geez. Considering how little you got out, this is the first time you've seen the stars in a long time, huh? Indeed. They are even more gorgeous than I remember. Sometimes it is hard to believe they are mere imitations. So, do you used to come here just to watch the stars? No, not really. Sometimes I will bring a tent with me, make a small campfire, and either watch videos, play some game, or just read. Oh, and I would bring stuff to cook, of course. Or hunt if I didn't have any. There are lots of small animals in these forests if you come during the day. But this became my little refuge for when things got rough back at home. I see. It's too bad I don't have a tent big enough to fit you in it. We can get one for next time you want to come here. Spending a night camping sounds like it could be fun. We could snuggle up in the tent and read a book together at a campfire cooked meal. Sounds good, doesn't it? Now I am regretting not preparing for this more thoroughly. It's fine. For now, just being out here with you makes me happy enough. I placed my hand on the side of his face and started caressing it. Nerus let out a pleased grunt in response. After watching the stars for a few minutes, my hand still on Nerus' face, I felt the great sister to move from his spot. The upside-down silhouette appeared in my field of view. I could tell from the 4 scarlet irises that he had returned to his usual appearance. Sax high. Realizing it was going to be too awkward to hold a conversation like this, he backed off and shifted some until he was lying on his side next to me. I moved to mirror his position. Okay, geez. How did I say this? I blinked at his sudden awkwardness, but waited as he collected his thoughts. It was that same lack of experience that had sown its head when I teased him at the beach. How come I am so bad with words when it comes to things like this? You can do it, Nerus. I believe in you. Right, so, actually, allow me to. He gave up on using only words to try to communicate what he was feeling. He put his arm around me and pulled me closer to him, squeezing me tight against his chest. Nerus then rolled onto his back and sat up, prompting me to do the same, on his lap. It was an intimate enough position I could feel the blood rushing to my face and other parts, but he continued speaking, either not noticing or not caring. As I was saying, Nerus looked straight down at me. I love you too, Sex. Such an expressive way to say it. I love you, Nerus. Am I doing this right? Just do what feels right to you, Nerus. He let out an amused sigh. I wonder if you could handle me if I did just that. What is that supposed to mean? Are you certain you want to find it? I might get rough. My heart was nearly hammering out of my chest. Why don't you give me a taste? Nerus propped me higher so he could bring his fangs in my neck. And like that day, more than a year ago, at the party, it sent a jolt of electricity traveling down my spine. I tried to keep my cool and give him a snarky retort. Well, looks like underneath that gentlemanly side. What? Nerus grabbed me by the back of my head and put me close to his face. He could have done that right then, but stopped at that last second, his eyes scanning for something. After a moment, I nodded, and then he proceeded. We opened our mouths and interlocked in a kiss. The only way I could describe it was overwhelming. It feels the great six-sisters' hands made their way under my tabard, and then my sir caressing my naked back beneath. He wasn't forceful with his tongue, but when it came to using it, he was much more confident than me. Compared to before, he had turned the tables on me. It felt as if he was pouring years' worth of bottled-up affection into me. It made my entire body feel hot and my heart beat like crazy. This love overwhelmed me. It surrounded me from all sides. By the time Nerus broke the kiss, I had become a panting mess that I couldn't help but let my body collapse on his chest. Oh, jeez. I wouldn't mind getting used to this. Let me take a good look at your face. Before I could say anything, Nerus shoved his entire thumb into my mouth, pinning my tongue in place. He nudged me away just enough to look at me in the eyes with that judging gaze he would always wear when gazing something. You seem to be enjoying yourself. I tried to laugh, but it just wouldn't come out. Not because his thumb was in the way, but rather I couldn't get it to come out. A pleasant dizziness was settling down my mind. I imagined my expression reflected that, judging from Nerus' smug smile. What a good boy you are, Sax. He removed his thumb from my mouth. A small string of saliva remained hanging from it. Thank you. I felt the heat rising to my face again. I had underestimated how submissive I could get. That night, Baron visited. I noticed you became tense when I stopped you from leaving, but it did not strike me as fear. I guess now I know why. As I said, just do what feels right for you. Although I really would like to know, and we would like to rest now. Let me just. Nerus reclined again, allowing me to lie on him as he patted my back. I soon started feeling a bit drowsy from both all the affection and the kissing from earlier, so I suggested we call it a night and went back. Good idea. I would hate to have to interrupt your sleep so you can take us back later. Also, how can I put this? You want to spend the night at my dormitory, I imagine. Can I? I'll sleep nude. If you do not mind that, you are free to join me. Oh, I have already seen you with just your pants. And, that doesn't leave much to the imagination, if that's what you think. After this, we were boyfriends, am I right? Of course, dummy. I giggled and scratched his chin. Nerus closed his eyes and helped me to hide her. We remained like that a bit longer before getting up. Is it just me, or is there still a salty smell in the air? Sax inspected his clothes as well as the soles of his feet. There was a considerable amount of sand sticking to him. I did the same. I tried to wipe the sand off my suit, but was determined to not come off. All I managed to do was to get some of it to stick to my hands. Let's make sure to clean our feet on the carpet. We don't want to make a mess for several. I grunted in annoyance. Of course, perhaps I should take a bath before bed. If you want to sleep with me, you will need to wash yourself as well. I do not want sand getting under my blanket. Fair enough. Sax started walking toward the house, but I didn't move an inch, staring at his back. Nerus, are you coming? Oh, yes. I opened my eyes and got greeted by the dormitory's wallpaper. My first thought of the day was that it was surprising I had managed to sleep through the entire night, and I noticed a certain tiny shapeshifter snuggling my chest. I know he said he was going to sleep with me, but I did not imagine he would be so clingy. But hell if he doesn't look cute. I'm glad I slept well. I would hate to wake him up in the middle of the night. I still didn't want to move from the bed, if only not to disturb Sax's sleep for a bit longer. I lay there patting the feathers on his head as he snuffled. But the day had to start at some point, so after around a few minutes, I started shaking the adorable creature awake. Just a couple more minutes. I sighed and, after some consideration, threw the sheets back and moved away a bit. This seemed to irritate Sax enough for him to open his eyes. Who the Sevils? What are you? Oh. Sax became paralyzed at the sight of me in the same bed as him. The fact that I was naked probably helped elicit that reaction. It wasn't all that common for a shapeshifter to feel the same when seeing a new body. That was another aspect that made Sax somewhat irregular. But it was endearing and easy to poke fun at. Do not tell me you forgot in whose bed you were sleeping. Give me a break. I just woke up. The small shapeshifter rubbed his eyes, one at a time. I kept lying on my side, with a seemingly bored look on my face, although I couldn't help but grin as his cheeks became redder. What is wrong, Sax? It is not anything you didn't see last night, or touch for that matter. You're doing this on purpose, you tease. Am I really teasing? If you want anything, you just need to say Sax. Oh, knock it off. He threw a pillow right into my face. I picked it up and used it to finally cover my genitals. Besides, I touched them by accident. Sorry, I thought it would be fun to pick on you a bit. A little revenge for yesterday. Well, it's alright. You said something I can use against you. Oh, how frightening. But for now, let us get ready for the day. After breakfast, I went straight to my study as usual. Sax said he would go pick up yesterday's mail and run an errand. It felt odd going back to my daily routine. Part of me wished every day could be like yesterday, but I still had a duty to fulfill. I could not ignore it. I suppose I would need to juggle between going places with Sax and my obligations. It would not present a problem if I knew we had all the time in the world to be together, but that might not be the case anymore. Sachs is right. Nomino couldn't have come up with this scheme at the worst time. A few minutes later, someone knocked on the door. "Come in, Sevels." When the servant entered the room, the first thing I noticed is that he was carrying a package under one of his arms. "Forgive the interruption, master. Lord Sachs stopped by briefly to deliver this." Leave on the side of the desk. "As you wish. Incidentally, master, I noticed something peculiar this morning." It was faint, but I felt a peculiar aroma coming from Lord Sachs. The smell reminded me of the cologne you wear. "Oh, yes. I let him try a bit of it last night after we came back." "Oh, that makes sense, but I also noticed there were strands of white fur all over him." "Why could that be, I wonder?" The servant placed his hand on his chin, feigning ponderation. I felt blood rushing to my ears just from listening to his observations, which prompted me to lower them. Sells picked up on this, and a look of understanding formed in his eyes. "Sevels, you have never butted into my business before. What possessed you to start doing it now?" "Oh my, it seems that I have earned your anger somehow, master. I simply wanted to wish the two of you the best of luck." "I suppose he too has been getting bolder after what happened last year." Yes, I appreciate it. Now, Sue, away with you." "And thank you." The servant giggled as he exited the room. I grunted and brought my hand up to my forehead. How come apparently everyone around me is so perceptive, for goodness sake? Minutes later, I opened the package Sevels had brought me. Inside there were several letters and files, but one of the latter in particular made me pause at once. With one eyebrow raised, I grabbed it. An update on the Solenesia cases. I instinctively swallowed. At that moment something came back to me, a sense of uneasiness I had forgotten I was capable of even feeling. I wasn't even sure why. I received updates on the subject on a regular basis. They usually spoke of the ongoing research in new or deceased patients. Where did the sizzling in the back of my head come from? With that question lingering, I pried the folder open. As of late, we have been receiving several reports of state centers suddenly being afflicted with a great fever. After thoroughly investigating each case, the only factor in common found between all patients is their status as second-generation Solenesiacs. No conclusive evidence linking the fevers to the Solenesia itself has been found. However, we decided to inform all great state centers post-haste as a preventative measure, as these cases might continue to spread in the foreseeable future. We recommend informing all underlings and to keep an eye on all Solenesiacs. Please consult with a doctor at the first sign of symptoms. We will keep you updated on the situation. Thank you for your attention. State Centers Department of Health. What the hell? Attached to the message, there were several pictures and clinical records who I assumed were some of the patients experiencing the apparent new symptoms. I clipped my tongue as I browsed through the documents. As Sachs is outside the house right now, talk about terrible timing. No, I should not panic. Even they do not know for certain if this is happening because of the Solenesia. The fever might spread to healthy state centers soon enough. Perhaps it is a virus we hadn't encountered so far. But if it was a virus or a germ, surely they would have noticed it already. All doctors may specialize in Solenesiacs and so matters, but they are not incompetent when it comes to our biology. I attempted to calm myself, but the feeling something sinister was in the works wouldn't stop swelling inside my heart. Sachs had looked fine as ever today, but in the morning and during breakfast he wasn't going to suddenly fall ill. However, that uneasiness didn't abandon me until around an hour later when I saw the small seasister enter the study with a bright smile on his face. He noticed my distress, so I handed him the document. Seth blinked in confusion at first, but as he read through it, a meaningful look appeared in his eyes. I could see why you would be worried, but I feel perfectly healthy. Don't let this news get to you, alright? I will try. I'm worried because I know, so amnesia makes the prospect of anything happening to me really scary. I get it. Indeed, if you say you feel alright, I will believe you. But if you start feeling unwell, please tell me. Will do. Now then, what were you up to? I went to buy some groceries to do some window shopping. Were you looking for something? That's a secret for now. So what else is new today? I opened my mouth as if to speak, but I bit my tongue at the very last moment. A letter from Nominal had also arrived the package that morning, but I wasn't sure it would be a good idea to tell Sax about it. However, I figured he would realize something was up from a misstep just now, so it was best to tell him. I received an update concerning the upcoming battle against the Angels. It is scheduled to take place in 80 days. 80? Well, it could be worse. I blinked, both surprised and relieved he took that well. He is more mature than he seems most of the time. I should give him more credit. It seems they wanted to do it sooner, but the Angels recruited some new muscle Nominal does not know how to deal with yet. Must be a fearsome opponent, and not even Nominal wants to mess with him. I am somewhat concerned. I have not fought for the longest time. I doubt my performance will be anything impressive. Why do you say we spar sometimes, Nerus? Did we not agree yesterday you would not be able to put up much of a fight? Yes, but we never know until we try. Besides, doing courier duty has done wonders for my physique. On the other hand, you haven't been exercising at all, have you? Fine, I accept your challenge then. That sounds like I'm in trouble. The intention was to make it sound like he was in trouble, but when we got to it, Sax kept sidestepping all my tackles. I wasn't by any means slow or sloppy despite my size, but the tiny sister read my every movement and thoughts accordingly. Don't get discouraged. You're still fast, Nerus. It's just your reflexes have been worn. Does he really have no combat experience? In the end, after an hour of trying to grab him, I gave up. Not because I was tired, but because he wanted to take a break to play some games. It shouldn't take long for you to get back into shape. There were some close calls back there. Sax was putting his tablet back on. Indeed, it feels good to use my body after so long. Thank you for this, Sax. You're welcome. I'm going to take a quick shower. Meet you at the parlor? Of course. I nodded in. After putting his hat back on, Sax sprinted toward the front of the mansion. As soon as I entered my bedchamber, I slammed the door shut and fell on my knees to the floor. My entire body was trembling. My arms and legs felt heavy as if rocks were strapped to them. Every fiber of my being was boiling. It was a revolting heat, nothing like the warm embraces I had shared with the great sea sister the night before. I wanted to peek my guts out just to rid myself of it. I trembled and retched, but I managed to regain my composure by the end. I looked up, still panting. Just around 3 more months. I can do this. Nerus, I swear, no matter what, I will save you. I woke up alone in Nerus' bed, my vision blurry and disorientated. Even so, I expected I saw a warm body pressing against my back or a big hand nudging me awake, but all that was absent that morning. If you fall asleep next to a campfire, you expect to find at least embers there the next morning. But in this case, the whole campfire had gone missing at some point. Only a hint of ash remained. Not thinking much of it, I got off the bed and proceeded to put on my clothes. On a whim, I walked up to the window as I was arranging my tablet, and out there I saw the big white wolf. I squinted. He was shirtless on the ground, doing one-arm push-ups. I checked my tongue, admiring the ease with which he lifted his considerable frame. I guess he did have a liking for exercise after all. I hurried up on getting dressed and then walked downstairs. By the time I got down there, he had switched to doing pull-ups from a big branch. His arm and chest muscles bulged under his fur with every repetition. I considered just watching in silence, but he had heard me get close. Good morning, Sax. Morning, Nerus. What are you doing? I didn't remember. Working out being this fun. Guess training these last few days got you a reminder, oh? Indeed, oh. The branch above Nerus creaked and snapped. Nerus fell to the ground on his butt, the branch barely missing his head on its way down. Despite this, the wolf brought one hand to his belly and laughed, as I had never heard him do up until then. I couldn't help but join him in his enthusiasm. Ah, this feels good. Cells should have breakfast ready any time now. Let us depart to the dining hall. The great six-shifter got back to his feet and retrieved the rest of his clothes from another branch nearby. Sure, by the way, Nerus. Yes. If you don't mind, I'm going out to work early today. There's something I want to go pick up. He looked at me, curiosity in his eyes. His mouth open, his tongue ready to enunciate a question, but in the end he shrugged and said, It is all right. You can manage your time as you wish. Yes, soon after, Nerus started laughing again for remembering his fall incident with the branch, and then we went back inside the house. There he is. I swam deeper into the great architect hall. During those last few days, I had been snooping for information on Nominal's location during work hours. As soon as I caught word of him visiting the hall that day, I watched the delivery I had been making and teleported there. Something is odd, though. Why is he at the hall today? He is alone and there is nothing scheduled to happen here anytime soon. Does he know I'm coming? Yes, that has to be it. That didn't deter me, however. I started to one of the pews and exchanged places with it. Once in there, I walked up to the stage where the leader of all six sisters was waiting. Nominal, you have been asking around about me. That's right. Do you know why? The big white does not know you're here. Do you remember? So you want to kill me? Me? Let's not jump to conclusions. I could never hope to defeat you, much less in this state. You know, we started doing sparring matches with Nerus, although they are mostly me trying to dodge his tackles since I can't fight back against him. Nerus. But even in those, it's hard to not run out of breath. I'm in no condition to fight. What I want is to know what you intend. Why are you trying to bring an Aeon here? Nerus told me if things were that easy, then you would have done this much sooner, and I think he is right. So what changed then? I always fulfill my promises. What? And my will is not that of the Aeons, but of God. Because of that, Now's the time. We will cleanse all corruption down to its core. What does that even mean? Do you mean to betray the Aeons? Arrogant pests, one can't define or control God. I furrowed my eyebrows and stared at the sage-sitter in front of me. The more he spoke, the more I got confused. His posture was as neutral as always, but his voice, that didn't originate from anywhere in particular, was filled with seething hatred. Okay, so you disagree with Aeons over the way you see God. But what about the promised thing? What is that supposed to mean? Herald of Hope, do you not recall that place, that old mansion? I have seen my fair share of mansions in my life. You're going to have to be more specific. But what do the places I have visited have to do with anything? Herald of Hope, do you not recall that place, that old mansion? I have seen my fair share of mansions in my life. You're going to have to be more specific. What do the places I may have visited have to do with anything? Herald of Hope, do you not recall that mansion painted in red in the world with a blue sky? What are you talking about? Can you stop talking in puzzles and speak like a noble person? Goodness. The sage-sitter stared at me, dead silent. I analyzed him from head to toe, looking for any change in his demeanor. But he remained the same, shoulders and head down, arms hanging limp, and legs crooked like he had trouble standing. And yet the way he had just spoken had been suspicious. His words were filled with uncharacteristic clarity and conviction. Maybe there was meaning behind what he was saying, or maybe not. Whatever the case, he was trying to confuse me with it, so I moved on. Anyway, I see now that I'm not getting straightforward answers out of you, but I will leave to hear you just like the Aeons. I don't agree with what they say either. Glad we are on the same page. So, I will assume your intention is to end everything the way they intend to. Indeed. And in the event that I wanted to work toward the same goal, what should I do to assist you? When the battle comes, when you are rid of your disease, join the battle. You are smart. I already know what to do. I'll consider it. I don't know if I can trust you just yet. If you wish to save this world from oblivion, you will realize there's no other choice. As I said, I'll think it over. Until we meet again, Nomino. Until then, I teleported away and later I went back to work. I went over our conversation over and over again for the rest of the day, trying to decide whether I could consider him an ally or not. Nomino, the first sage-sitter. No one knows much about him beyond what can be seen on the surface. A loyal, if eccentric ally of the Aeons, looking to help them cleanse their light from all worldly corruption. Even the true nature of his magic is unknown to everyone. But what he told me contradicted that message. Is he trying to trick me, or was that his true face? If he considered me a threat, then he could have tried to dispose of me right there. Those rumors about soul amnesiacs vanishing would make a perfect cover to make me disappear. Still, I can't help but to feel uneasy. There's something off about him. He is the one that proposed a second battle in the first place. If he just wanted to keep things the way they are, he wouldn't have done that. From the sound of it, I would guess he's planning to strike against the Aeons themselves somehow, What did he truly mean when he said the objective was to create a vessel? It's no use. At this rate, I won't make my mind up until the time when the second battle arrives. There, number knows objective should be revealed, and I should be able to make my choice. Well then, what is it that you want to show me? A few days later, after supper, I invited Nerus to the parlor with the promise of a surprise. His ears had perked up with interest. Don't you notice anything different in this room, Nerus? The great state sitter raised an eyebrow and looked around the parlor, ears wiggling with curiosity. No. Look at the TV, Nerus. Oh, what is this device? A video game console. It's a secret I was shopping around for. You outmatched me at real combat now, so let's have some game combat instead. Can't argue against that. You can't even dodge my tackles anymore. In that same instant, Nerus broke into a sprint toward me. I suddenly realized that he was killing me in his own bridal style. He startled me a bit, but that was not the only reason my heart skipped a beat. You can be such a soft, jeez. Is it just me, or is your pulse increasing? You can tell? Anyway, let's play video games now. As you wish, my little prince. I heard a great state sitter who was sitting on the floor next to me, loud and exasperated sigh. Is something the matter, my big prince? Not used to being on a losing streak? It isn't fair. These controllers are too small for my hands. No way, I made sure to pick up a console you could use. Sorry, I'll be more gentle so you can learn the game. I just couldn't resist turning the tables on you for once. I was being a little mean. At the start, I tried to not press Nerus too hard just yet, but he just kept committing mistakes or using wild super attacks which I put us on instinct. He hadn't even left the corner in that last match, I think. Now that I was holding back, he seemed to be having a better time. He was smiling and performing much better now that he wasn't panicking. Well, for the most part. Hey, don't just mask. They don't so mask. Try to combo something for once. Oh, so bossy. But you keep knocking me down or pushing me away. You could be doing a lot more damage. By the way, Sax, I have been thinking about something. Yes? If, after fighting the angels again, we can still live, which I believe is what is going to happen, well, I am going to quit being a great state sitter. I felt my neck bulge as I made a physical effort to not take my eyes off the screen. Oh, you can just do that? Nice. I expected you to be more surprised. Is it a huge deal, you know? I mean, it is a huge deal, you know. It's not that. I clicked my tongue as I saw Nerus finally perform a combo on me. Damn. Anyhow, you never seem happy about your great state sitter duties, and every time you talk about it, it is a complaint. It's unsurprising you want to get out. You got a point. I'm tired of all this, of keeping appearances, of dealing with nobles or other great state sitters, or of always the same story. It has been like this for so long, I cannot even remember how many years have passed. So many eras have gone by, yet we state sitters seem stuck in this sort of stasis. But if I abandon my duty, I will have nothing else left. That stillness was my entire world. I feared that I would go hollow, to be frank. But now you are here, I believe I will be fine. We could settle down somewhere more of your taste, like a bright town village. Or we could go explore many worlds if we don't feel like staying in a single place. I'm fine with either. Maybe even blend in with the mortals if we want or need to. They would be gone eventually, true, but if we have each other then... Well, this is if you're willing to stick with me, that is. Oh, why wouldn't I, silly? I threw the controller aside and lunged at him, landing on his chest. Nerus soon enveloped me in his arms. Thank you, Sax. I sniffed the skate him, I scratched the side of his face, trying to reassure him. I imagine if any other state senator heard what he had just said, they would be either outraged or devastated. But as for me, I was happy he had found the courage to do this for his own sake and in part for mine as well. No need to thank me, Nerus. Although, what will we do about Saviles? I don't know if he ever talked to you about it, but he really appreciates this job, so are you concerned he might go hollow if we were to leave him behind? Yes, it would be terrible if that happened. It is a very valid concern. I'll discuss this matter with him before the battle. I hope I can get him to be straightforward with me. True, to be honest, what does surprise me is that this is something you can do to begin with. I imagine it will not be easy. There's not any precedent for a great state senator abandoning their position. I know a couple of state senators that, while lacking in wild power, when compared to me, they are still strong and charismatic enough to fill my role. Perhaps I could work with Nominal to set one of them up as my successor. It sounds exciting when you put it that way, but the other state senators would eat it up. I do hope so, but everything will turn out right, I promise. I know, Nerus, I believe in you, and I will make sure that is what happens. I have so much I want to tell you, Nerus. If only I had the courage to do it right now. If you are willing to abandon even your rank because of me, you will still think of me the same way, even after you learn the truth, right? Gotta love him. He calls me cute, but he's quite cute himself. We scratch the right places. Hey, can you help me help? Nerus grabbed me by the butt and lifted me up until I was at eye level. I rested the tip of my nose against his I scratched behind his ear. He closed his eyes and tilted his head to the side. You can be so damn adorable. I gave his snout a small peck. Seconds later, the great state senator opened one eye. Is petting all you wanted to do, Sax? Were you hoping for something else? I suppose so. I have been hoping to get more. He gesticulated with his free hand as he looked for the right words. Physically intimate with you as of late. I took some distance, just enough to look at him in the eyes. You know, I'm still shy when it comes to physical stuff. It's not that I don't want to be proactive, but basically it would be easier if you started. So I'm in charge. Yes, that's a good way to say it. After a moment of silence, Nerus reached out to the console and turned it off into the TV. Let us move to my bedchamber in that case. Yeah, right now? Unless you would rather not. No, I'm fine. I kinda have been waiting for you to make this move. Good. Without another word, the great state senator got on his feet and carried me to his room. You are getting hot, Sax. What do you expect? A torrent of ideas about what was about to happen had broken free about how what Nerus would do to me, how he would hold me, how he'd feel in me. I wasn't experiencing this aspect. The anticipation was killing me. And that hot anticipation crashed with a gust of cold doubts. Nerus was huge, way larger than me. What if I couldn't accommodate him? What if I didn't have enough stamina to keep up? Or what if he realized he didn't find me attractive? He did call me cute a lot, but that didn't have to translate to being sexually attractive. I used to think it was the opposite. Even my heart hammering against my chest made me more nervous. What if he noticed it and thought I didn't want this to happen? A tornado had formed and was spinning in my head. We can hold this off if we don't feel ready. No, no, it's just a bit of versus anxiety, is all. Phew. Don't laugh. My apologies. In any case, here we are. Hang on somewhere here. Okay, so looks like Nerus and Sass are going to take their relationship to the next step. So we're gonna see all that next time. So Sax has a secret, and he's not ready to reveal it just yet. But he hopes that Nerus will still love him despite his secret. So what his secret is, I think I know what it is, but could he be an Aeon or an angel? One of them. And when he went to Domino in the Great Hall, I forgot what it's called, but it's not a place where great six sisters meet. For some reason, Nomino was suspecting Sax alive, which I kind of find weird. And Sax told him that, Nomino told Sax that once he recovers from his illness, that he should join the battle. So, is he counting on? Could Sax possibly? Well, he does have the illness, but he hasn't gotten ill just yet. But could Sax actually recover from it and still be able to fight in the battle and be with Nerus? Gonna think about what. But that secret that Sax, that's still kind of on my mind. I think it could be either Aeon or Angel, and that he's been. Maybe that, that story that Nerus told about him on a planet, him being sent by Nominal to a planet to look for angels or look for angels. Maybe that angel that he met was Sax from a previous life, and that Sax got reincarnated into a shapeshifter. That might be it. I'm just guessing. I don't know. Hey, so I enjoyed the beach scene that they had, their vacation, and it was needed. It was something that they needed because it really helped them develop their relationship much more. Just a time for both of them to enjoy themselves and know each other more and what they like and don't like, and Nerus talk about his love for wrestling. And I agree with what he said about wrestling. It's more than just a sport. It's about expressing yourself and showing power and dominance, and just wrestling for a lot of people who love it, who are wrestlers. It brings the best out of them physically and emotionally. So, if you watch WWE wrestling, you kind of see that in the wrestlers themselves. They really are at their best, both physically and emotionally, when they use somebody to show their strength or to assert dominance over. So, I wonder if we'll ever see Nerus wrestle somebody, or a CG could be made for that. I don't know. I would like to see that. So anyway, in the next video we'll see Nerus and Sex take the next step of their relationship. Them getting intimate together in bed. So thank you all very much for watching. Goodbye.